Hey everyone, this is KT45, and I wanted to make a petition to Christians about an issue that I had when I was a Christian and I was at church. So this petition isn't anything big or anything, it's just a problem I had with a practice inside church. Now, if you are not a churchgoer, they have something called altar call. It's when the people who aren't saved can go up and get saved and join the church, or they can go up and accept Jesus Christ. Now, usually how it's usually done in a lot of churches is that the preacher will just go up to the front at the end of the sermon and call people up to get saved. And that's fine. My problem is there was a current practice inside some of my other churches that I went to where they would get everyone to hold hands at the end of the sermon, and they would say, if anyone is not saved, please squeeze the person's hand beside you. So the people that weren't saved would squeeze that person's hand, and then the pastor would say, please lift this person's hand up. If your hand has been squeezed, then lift that person's hand up. So now all the unbelievers have their hands up in the air because they just said they weren't saved, and the person beside them lifted up their hands. And then the pastor would say, if your hand is currently being raised, you will be brought up to the front. So this unbeliever goes up to the front of the congregation, and then the pastor tells them they go through the whole motions, and then they get saved. It seems like a nice way to do it because it's encouraging people to get saved. If they're scared, now they have someone, holding their hand up to the congregation. But in reality, at least from my point of view, when I was a Christian and right now, it seems kind of sneaky way to get people to join your congregation. Now, if you can't really imagine it, let's say you went with your family to go to church and you don't understand church behavior or how church works, and you never really went. So you're just an unbeliever. You're like an atheist or agnostic, and you're going up to this church, and they, at the end of the sermon, you're getting ready to leave, and they say, everyone please stand up. And okay, I'm standing up. And then they tell you to hold the person's hand next to you. Okay, this must be part of church protocol, so I'll go ahead and hold this person's hand. And then they say, all right, everyone close your eyes, we're going to pray. Okay, you're going to be respectful. Then they do this little quick prayer. And then they ask, if you are an unbeliever, please squeeze a person's hand next to you. Now, okay, if this happened and I never went to church before, I've been to church plenty of times, but if this happened and I never went to church before, I'd be kind of suspicious about what was happening. But I'd probably go ahead and squeeze that person's hand. And when they say, if your hand has been squeezed, please lift that person's hand. Okay, so now my hand's in the air and I'm wondering what the heck's going on. And then they say, if your hand has been squeezed, bring that person's hand up to the front. Now I'm being brought up to the front of the congregation. I don't know what the heck's going on. And now the pastor is sitting right in front of me asking me to be saved. In most cases, like say a Christian comes up to you and asks you to be saved just randomly on the street, or it's a friend, you can go ahead and say no politely. But imagine I went to mega churches, so there was like thousands of people within the congregation, and it's a lot of pressure to say no in front of a pastor, in front of thousands of people when they're all watching you when you're about to get saved. I guess if you're more of an outspoken atheist or agnostic, you could probably go ahead and say hell no. But if you're just some random person, unbeliever, it's a lot of pressure. They're basically putting you in a situation where you're about to make a lifelong commitment, and you haven't even studied or anything, and it's a lot of pressure. Basically, I could see how someone would just go ahead and accept Jesus right then and there, because it's difficult to say no. It seems like a really sneaky way to do it to me. It seems just really deceitful. I don't know. Putting someone in a pressure situation where they either accept this deity or I don't know. I can't really explain it. But if you currently go to a church that does this, can you at least tell them that it's doesn't seem right. It's kind of sneaky. I mean, can you see how hard it would be for someone, or like say you went to like a Muslim church and they brought you up to the front, and all these Muslims are looking at you expecting you to accept their religion. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a weird way to do it. Just have the people who don't believe, or have the people who want to become Christians, just accept their belief. Just have them get the balls to go out by themselves and announce their faith to everyone. Don't make people who are unsuspecting of what's happening and haven't even studied their freaking Bible to accept this religion. It just seems like a deceitful way to do things. And I know you want people to join Christ or whatever based off of, their commitment and willingness. You don't want weak-minded people joining Christ. Let them get the courage to come up and join on their own accord, not under a pressure situation. Alright, thanks.